Well, that's a good start to the morning.
Yeah. So good. Yeah.
Stop number 2, not nearly so bad. Well, that's more like it. It's just what we want to see. Few and far between. Well, we're here for our last stop. I wonder what we'll find. Yeah, just a few, not too many. You know, after taking the counts and finding out if there are indeed western bean cutworm moths in the area, the next step is to go into these fields and try to find the egg mass. In my view, this is the worst job that a field scout ever has to do, is to walk into a field of corn that's pretty heavily pollinating and start looking up into the leaves, trying to determine and look for the little pearly egg masses that they'll cluster in a little clump. Tends to be on the upper part of the plant. The scouting protocol is that if you do find an egg mass, that you come back and scout that field again in another few days and see if you can find some more egg masses. They tend to talk about 5%, or in other words, 1 out of every 20 plants with egg masses thresholds. And based on my looks this morning, my own opinion is that we don't have enough western bean cutworm pressure to warrant application of insecticide, which is really good news. We hate using insecticides and almost at all costs, unless it's a dire situation, want to put them in the tank. So that's the story this morning on western bean cutworm. Of course, a lot of people are asking about fungicide, and what about using fungicide and corn now at 430, 435 a bushel? You know, is it really worth it? Well, from a cash grain point of view, you know, 430 corn. This fall, we're probably going to have 25% moisture corn. You can pretty well see it. We're flowering here at the end of July. We'll have grain fill. Black layer will be over by the latter part of September. Tend to get some pretty good dry down still in the first part of October. So I'm pretty confident we're going to be looking at 24-25% corn. That's still 50 cents a bushel to dry. So it takes your 430 a bushel. Back 55 cents off that, and you're soon into 380 a bushel cash grain price, dumped at the pit at the elevator. Generally, the accepted yield response in to fungicides in corn is somewhere in the 6, 7, 8 bushel. The cost of getting this on, if you have to pay for it to be applied, you're basically looking at 18 to 20 bucks for the product. You're looking at 12 bucks, give or take, for the application cost. So you've got a $30 bill tied up in this thing before you ever start. So at a 380 net price, yeah, it takes 9 bushel to start to be to the point where you're going to maybe put a little bit of $1 back in your pocket versus trading dollars. But where this thing really hits the road, in my opinion, is not so much the yield response, plus or minus. We're in a jib area. The last couple of days where humidity's been here, we had a foggy morning yesterday. There's rain in the forecast, continued humidity, and the risk of gibberella ear mold is really, in my view, just too great. Consequently, I'm a supporter of Proline, the triazoles. Proline is one example, Crumb is another example, but those triazole products at Green Silk, which is where this plant is just coming into Green Silk. There's no rush on something like this, but in the next 4 to 5 days, if the majority of your corn is in this Green Silk phase, definitely a product like with a triazole component to it or full triazole rate is just a smart investment. to suppress potential jib ear molds. We can't wait until we see whether disease and jib develops and then try to correct it. We have to go in and do a preventative approach and spray ahead of time get ahead of the disease is what I mean to say, and spray before we ever see disease. It's risk management. At the end of the day, it's risk management. And in my point of view, fungicide is an important risk management tool, and that's why we prefer to keep it in our program. If the cost of it really bothers you and you're a cash grain producer, fine. I can understand why you may not want to do it. If you're a livestock producer, I've always argued that your price of corn is, in terms of by the time it drives out the driveway, either in the milk tank or in the chickens and the broiler meat or in the eggs, by golly, that corn is worth a lot more than $3.80 a bushel. So from my view, from a livestock perspective, any livestock producer should be using fungicides as not only a disease preventive tool, but also to manage the problems associated with dawn production in corn. And that's it for this morning right here. And hey, keep smiling. Wheat's harvest is underway, and we're going to have hopefully a few nice days from here on and get some of those acres out of the way. Thank you.